What is a central bank? It's a central body responsible for overseeing a nation's economic and monetary policies and ensuring the financial system remains stable. Different from commercial and investment banks, these institutions are not market-based and are not competitive. Most central banks get concerned with inflation, which is the movement of price for goods and services. They maintain inflation within interest rates. For example, a central bank will increase interest rates when inflation surpasses its target in order to slow growth. Conversely, it reduces interest rates when inflation drops below the bank's target to spur growth. Most of the world's central banks are independent and answer to their federal governments. With that stated, here are the top 10 richest central banks in the world. Number 10. Central Bank of Brazil. Brazil. The Central Bank of Brazil was established in 1964. It's one of the richest central banks in the world, having a total asset of $720.710 billion. According to a local media outlet, the bank plans to start a pilot program of a digital currency next year. Its president, Roberto Campos Neto, said. This year, the Central Bank of Brazil announced its sixth interest rate hike, and the biggest in almost 2 decades during an October meeting, raising the Selic rate by 150 basis points to 7.75% against market estimates of a 100 BPS increase. Number 9. Swiss National Bank, Switzerland. The Swiss National Bank is the National Bank of Switzerland. It's one of the most famous and top central banks in the world, having a total asset of $1,131,370 million. The National Bank got founded under the Federal Act on the Swiss National Bank, which entered into force on the 1st of January 1906. Business was started the following year in June. In addition, the bank is a special statute joint stock institution governed by special provisions of federal law. It's administered with the cooperation and under the supervision of the Confederation following the provisions of the National Bank Act. The main goal of the Swiss National Bank is to maintain the stability of prices while overseeing the economical conditions of the country. Like Japan and the Eurozone, Switzerland is also export-dependent. So then, the SNB doesn't have an interest in seeing its currency become too strong. Thus, its general bias is to be more conservative with rate hikes. Number 8. Bank of Spain, Spain. From the name, the Bank of Spain is a central bank of Spain. Like the ones mentioned before, it's one of the top central banks in the world, having a total asset of $1,135,110 million. The Bank of Spain was established in 1782 by Charles III. Its activity is regulated by the Law of Autonomy on the Banco de España. The bank has the following governing body: the governor, the deputy governor, the governing council, and the executive committee. Number 7. Bank of Italy, Italy. With total assets of $1,135,605,542,549, the Bank of Italy is the Central of Italy. It's a public law institution regulated by national and European legislation. Moreover, the Bank of Italy is an integral part of the Euro system, which comprises the National Central Bank of the Euro area and the European Central Bank. The bank's goal is in the general interest in the sector of money and finance, price stability, which is the main objective of the Euro system under the treaty and functioning of the European Union, the stability and efficiency of the financial system, hence implementing the principle of the protection of saving embodied in the Constitution, and the other duties given to it by Italian law. Number 6. Bank of England, Europe. The Bank of England, or BOE, is publicly owned, meaning it reports to the British people through Parliament. Founded in 1694, it's often touted as one of the world's richest central banks, with total assets of $1,291,640 million. It aims to maintain stability in its monetary and financial systems. To accomplish this, BOE has an inflation target of 2%. If price surpasses that level, the central bank will have to curb inflation, while a level far below 2% will prompt the bank to take measures to boost inflation. The bank also ensures the following: the security of its currency, the soundness of the country's financial institutions. Its financial system has no unnecessary risk. Number 5. Bank of France, France. Being one of the richest central banks globally, the Bank of France has total assets of $2,138,080 million. It was established as a private institution for the state debts and notes in 1800, and with time it transformed into a central bank. Its headquarters is located in Paris, and currently François Villeret de Galhau is serving as the central bank governor. Number 4. Deutsche Bundesbank, Germany. Deutsche Bundesbank is the central bank of the Federal Republic of Germany. It has a total asset of $1,993,180 million. The central bank was established under the Bundesbank Act of 1957 Its head offices are situated in 9 German cities and are followed by 35 branches. Deutsche Bundesbank has formed part of the Euro system since 1999, sharing responsibility with other national central banks and the European Central Bank for the single currency, the euro. The bank's core business area is the Euro system monetary system. Its main goal is to secure price stability in the euro area. This needs in-depth analysis, a long-term view, and impartiality towards individual interests. Number 3. The People's Bank of China, China. The People's Bank of China is a central bank of China. It's one of the richest central banks in the world, having total assets of $5,144,760,000,000. PBOC got established by consolidating the Huabai Bank, the Beihai Bank, and the Xibei Farmer Bank. Its goal is the carrying of framing monetary policy as well as fiscal policy in China. Likewise, the bank is responsible for drafting laws and regulations for its financial functions. The headquarters of PBOC is located in Shanghai and Beijing. Also, the bank has 9 regional branches, 303 municipal sub-branches, and 1,809 sub-level sub-branches. Historically, the interest rate set by the bank was always divisible by 9 instead of 25, as is the case with the rest of the world. However, in October 2010, the central bank started to increase rates by 0.25%, and the interest rate is now divisible by 25. Number 2. Bank of Japan, Japan. The Bank of Japan started operating in 1882. Its goal is to maintain price stability and ensure the stability of the financial system. As a result, this makes inflation the central bank's top priority. Because Japan is very dependent on exports, the bank has even more active interest than the ECB prevents an excessively strong currency. The bank's Monetary Policy Committee consists of the governor, 2 deputy governors, and 6 other members. The Bank of Japan has been known to come into the open market to artificially weaken its currency by selling it against US dollars and euros. Additionally, the central bank is extremely vocal when it feels concerned about excess currency volatility and strength. Meetings are 8 times a year. The Bank of Japan has total assets of $6,548,870,000,000. Number 1. Federal Reserve System, United States. The Federal Reserve, often referred to as the Fed, is the central bank of the United States. It's probably the most influential central bank globally, having total assets of $8,201,651,000,000. With the US dollar used for about 90% of all of the world's currency transactions, the Fed's sway has a sweeping effect on the valuation of many currencies. The Fed's goal is to ensure the U.S. economy operates effectively while keeping the public's interest in mind. It does this by performing 5 key roles that promote monetary policy, financial stability, the soundness of individual financial institutions, the safety of payment and settlement payment systems, and consumer protection. For sure, you know the top 10 richest central banks in the world.